be in this conversation. Let me introduce ma'am first. So Rubal Negi is the founder of Rubal Negi Art Foundation and Rubal Negi Design Studio. She is an award-winning, internationally acclaimed artist with over 800 murals to her credit. With over 150 exhibitions worldwide, she is a member of Indian Design Council and is one of the pioneers to start Mumbai beautification with art installation around the city. She is also the first woman artist to be invited to exhibit at Rashtrapati Bhavan Museum Gallery, New Delhi. An artist, social worker who promotes young, talented artists from India and abroad. Rubal Agi Art Foundation is not-for-profit organization set up with a vision to make sure that all children get an education that helps them become caring, responsible, productive citizens. As a concrete step towards realization, this vision, organization has various programs which aim at providing quality education for underprivileged children by introducing a low-cost and sustainable educational model. Her latest initiative, Misal Mumbai, is the first slum transformational initiative in India via art. The main aim is to connect to people through art, bring a positive change in their mindset, educating through art about the importance of children education, empowering women, creating job opportunities for importance of children education, waste management, say no to the plastic, and the organization has painted and repaired more than about 150,000 plus homes till date and are currently working in over 163 slums and villages across India. Her paintings are collected by corporates, celebrities, Government of India, and museums. So wow, that's amazing, and it's really wonderful to have you here and being so compassionate, generous, and such a unique personality, and having a conversation with you. Thank you for taking up this invitation. Thank you for here being with us now.
Gagan ma'am, give it to me. And now
Yes.
I will turn on a video for ma'am. And everybody,
Yes.
please check this video once. Let me share my screen with all of you. This is directly on YouTube, Mumbai, India by Wale.
Art inspires people to do good, be good. I am blessed to be a medium that brought people closer. And together, we all contributed to make this area a better living space. What looked like a stack of homes became a vast canvas. We used colors to paint smiles on the faces of people who live here and also the ones who look on.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, बहुत अच्छा काम हुआ है, एकदम पूरा मॉडल ही चेंज हो गया अपने एरिया का।
जी मैंने देखा है आप लोग पेंटिंग कर रहे हैं, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. People would not like to see it, but now we feel good.
Our aim is to inspire other artists to come forward and explore the power of art. That's how we artists can contribute towards our nation's development. The fresh coat of paint has rubbed off on the hearts of the owners of this canvas. What makes this painting unique are the people, their stories, and our memories.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful piece of work. Over to you, Gagan ma'am.
Thank you, Anuj, for sharing.
Before we start, I want to say that what you see at the end, which says Misal Mumbai, has now become Misal India. And the video you've seen is the first video of what we launched Misal Mumbai after Paint Dharavi. And now we've gone into 80% of India. So now the name has changed from Misal Mumbai to Misal India.
Congratulations, ma'am.
That's wonderful. Thank you. So, having the conversation started, ma'am, I just first I want to know that being in the slum area, that's the place where nobody wants to be. It's not so happening place to be. So, what comes in your mind that you've decided to be in slum? So, can you just share something on this?
See, when I was a small child, my father served in the armed forces, and we've gone to the smallest possible village to the bigger cities and to many different areas which normally a kid living in a city permanently is not exposed to. So for me, walking into a slum was never an issue. I came to Bombay almost 21 years plus back, and when I started my work 2 years back, uh, it was just like I went there to teach, and for me, it was never like a lot of people in Bombay said, I don't know how you do it, that you just go walk into slums and you live there for so many days also, and you just interact with people just like that. How does it work? So honestly, for me, something that I have in mind is that if they you can have people living there, how difficult it is for us to just go and do something for them. You have children living there, they play with you. We play cricket every evening. We have so many different activities we do during the day. You interact with so many different people there. So how difficult it is for people. Yes, I agree that they are not very polished or very clean, or they have big homes and luxury homes. No, they are slums. I mean, the word slum itself says it a lot. A lot of other parts of the country, they say basti. Some people say in Mumbai, especially in Maharashtra, it's called slum, but all the other part of the country, it's normally addressed as basti. So it's not something which should stop anyone. I feel even if you've never been to a slum, I think there is always that first time that you need to explore, and trust me, people will welcome you with open arms once you have taken that first step to go there. So slum, in fact, somebody from Bangalore interviewed me and said, ma'am, slums are dark and dangerous. So how do you, being a woman, manage to go there? So I tell them, being a woman, it's come as an advantage to me to be in slums, because people are firstly taken aback that how is somebody just coming to do different things with us, and why is she here? They all have their questions in their mind. But then when they understand that, okay, this is why she's here, and she's not come with the mindset कि यहाँ गंदगी है, यहाँ पे टॉयलेट साफ नहीं है, यहाँ पे kids are barefoot walking in the kachra and pani and everything, then they kind of start understanding you, so they become a family to you. So for me, honestly, it was never like a question mark that I do not want to go and work in slums, or I thought that I have to only work in slums. My whole aim was that as a social worker, I want to educate as many kids as possible, whether they live in the cities, bastis, slums, villages, anywhere. But being in Maharashtra, larger number of population lives in the slum. So my journey started from slums. And today I very proudly say they are part of my family. They are my family out there. So अगर वो इंसान है, अगर वो वहाँ रह सकते हैं, तो हम क्यों नहीं वहां जा सकते? And why should we think they're dark and dangerous when people are living there? They are welcoming you there. They've given me more love than people living in big mansions, in big apartments and big homes. So it's and I think uh, everyone has different mindset, and I think people who think that are dark and dangerous, well, I do know the word dangerous, but because God is kind, we haven't really faced the dangerous part. But I get that also, that why people think like that. But I would say only one thing to all the students, to the youth, which is uh, working on different social issues of our country, that nothing in life comes easy, and nothing is not dark and dangerous. It's how you explore it. Once you go there, decide for your own whether it is dark or dangerous, or it's the most beautiful thing, the most beautiful experience that you've had in your life. In fact, I want to share with all the students that after I started paying Dharavi in 2016, we were more stressing on education in Dharavi, because Dharavi, is huge. And Misal Mumbai started in 2018. And from 2016 to 2020, right now, I think Misal is the biggest initiative of my life, which has given me the biggest human connection ever. I was earlier only taking classes, I was teaching the children in slums and villages. But with Misal and with Paint Dharavi, I was on ground, cleaning, painting, interacting with people, collecting their database and what women are doing, what youth is doing, employment, dropouts. So it's like, there's so much more, but that will only happen when you're there on ground yourself. So I think that was a huge impact on my life, which Misal and Pen Dharavi journey created for me. So I would say slums are dark and dangerous. Depends. So you have to first try it out for yourself, then to believe what people say, because there are a lot of stories around everything. So I would like to believe something that I have seen with my own eyes and I've experienced it in my life myself. So I think that is what I would say about slums.
That's so wonderful. But being a woman, that everywhere, like even I'm a woman, and every woman, whenever we want to do something. So I just want to know what was the initial steps when you have actually being into that, in that taking first step. So was that a step from a heart or a mind? And what was the challenges? There must be certain challenges which you were facing initially when you have stepped out and you've taken your first step.
Well, but nothing in life is without challenging. Even when you're studying in your school or your college, you have so many challenges. I mean, I remember when I was in college, I used to be like, okay, when will this get over and when will I start getting to do something that I like? So, at every stage, you are always, as a student also, when there are less challenges, which we at that time think, oh my God, there's so much pressure. We have so many challenges, even when you're studying. But as you come out of it and you've done your schooling, you've done your college, you've done your degrees and your masters, and you step into the real world, I tell all the youngsters, till you are studying, it's the golden period of your life. Because that time your stress is only your exams. You have to study, your education system has to be right, you have to learn properly. But the real test starts once you step into the real world of working, communicating, coming across so many people, different corporates. So that is where your real life starts. So enjoy as much as you can your college life, because these are the best days of your life. And then, of course, the bigger and the better journey starts, but more hardworking journey starts once you've done your degrees. So challenges, of course, like I said, every stage you have challenges. And being a woman, it's been positive and negative both for me. Negative was that, we have the mentality of men sometimes, and there are a lot of people who've come up to me in slums and villages that, who's the boss? So they're looking at me. Is she the boss? Madam, is that the madam? We have to listen to her. No, 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 no. We don't take orders from madam. Seth ko bulao. Seth means call the man. So I'm like, listen, there is no Seth. I am the Seth and I'm the Sethani and I'm the boss. I'm the madam. I'm the teacher. Whether you take it or you don't take it, but you have no choice but to listen to me. And I'm not telling you कि आपको यही करना है, या I'm not putting a gun on your head. So all I'm telling you is that if your daughter was on my position, or your sister was on my position, or somebody from your family was on my position, and giving order means telling someone to do this because it's your area, how would you feel if somebody like you spoke to her? So they're like, madam, but still, kaisa hoga? So I'm like, just think about it. I'm not saying you listen to me now, but if you think I'm worth it, that you want to listen to me with the kind of work we will do there, come back to us, and then let's take it from there, and let's take that as the first day. In fact, when we were in Jafar Baba, the video that you saw, so one of the old priests there, he said, हमने तो मैडम को हाथ दिया था, मैडम ने पूरी बाजू खींच ली. So my team member actually went up to him and I told him, don't, because in slums you have to understand that they all have different mindset and they are not used to people who will come and do good for them. They always have people who are trying to come and talk about breaking their homes or some political agenda or some builder wanting to build some high rise. So they are scared. So how can we blame them for talking like this? How can we blame them for being little aggressive or being little cautious? And they have far more problems than and difficulties in life that they're facing. Imagine, for toilet you have to stand in line for maybe half an hour sometimes, 20 minutes sometimes, 1 hour sometimes. You have to walk few steps ahead to go, and in the middle of the night. So they already have enough challenges in life. So if they talk to us with some doubts in their mind and we are going to just give it back to them saying that this is not going to work, I think that doesn't work. So my whole team, when I start my one area that I pick up, I tell them, you need to have tremendous patience, because please understand, they already are facing a lot of difficulties in their life. We are here to make their life easy, not to get into fight, not to get into arguments with them, not to go back and forth. We want to love them and we want to give them love as much as possible. And when you give love, I believe you get love. You have to be there yourself to earn that respect. You cannot tell someone, okay, I'm the madam, start respecting me. It doesn't work like that. So with your work, with your persistence, with all the hard work that you do, that will get you respect. So that is what happened here also. So when we spoke to that person, and later on that priest gave an interview in Mumbai Mirror, live interview, that I spoke like that, but at that time I did not understand what was happening here. But what she has done here, I mean, on live, you can see it on YouTube, that interview, that what she's done here, I've been here 40 years. Something like this has never happened. Nobody has come and ever told us to clean garbage, or never anyone from outside has come and cleaned our garbage. So we are so thankful to her for taking this initiative and doing this, and so patiently understanding us and making us understand that what Misal Mumbai India is all about. Because Misal Mumbai India is not about just coloring the homes. Misal Mumbai is about connecting to people through art. We start with art because it's easy to connect. Art opens many avenues, many doors for you to connect to people. So art actually, through Misal, has made us connect to so many more people that would have not happened if we didn't start with art. So the main aim of Misal Mumbai India is not about coloring the homes only. Beautification is one part of it, but a very small part of it. The main aim is connecting to people through art, changing their mindset for betterment of their lives. Why should they educate their children? Why should women should be empowered? Why do you not let your women work? Let them work, even if they're working from home. Few hours they can go out and contribute financially to your family. Why it is important to keep your areas clean, hygiene, sanitation, youth empowerment. Dropouts need to also finish their education. So Misal was actually a group of things that was taken to every area, and that's why it became Misal India. Because in one slum, when you got in, we would have painted 4 5 years down the line, the color is over. What have you actually created there? Nothing. Giving them colorful walls for 5 6 years makes no sense, especially in a country like India where we have bigger issues to address. Why are we wasting money on just painting the walls? And those slums, maybe after 40 years, 10 years, 5 years, or maybe 100 years, will break, and some will not break. So the whole point was that we connect to them. The first stage was art, because when we started coloring, a lot of people came and said, my daughter is getting married, can you do a beautiful pink on our wall? I said, sure. Because community involvement is what we wanted. We wanted people from there, and I told them, मैं एक बार color करूंगी, we will do cleanliness drives, we will clean your toilets, we will do all this, and we'll go back. What happens after that? Because if you're going to again bring it to the first stage of where the whole kachra is on the streets and your houses are dirty and water is leaking, then how many times can one do it for you? So that is where the community involvement was very important. And each home we went to, people came forward, and I used to tell them, okay, this is the palette that I've designed as a rainbow effect, but you're most welcome to give your input. If there is a favorite color you have, if there is something, and you're talking about challenges, I mean, some of the Muslim homes we went to, they said, madam, yahan to orange lag hi nahi sakta. Some of the Hindu homes we went to, yahan pe green lag hi nahi sakta. And I left their homes. I said, both of you sit together and please tell me, why is the fight over? Are you guys fighting as people? No. So what is this color thing? In fact, Muslims should put orange and Hindus should put green. That will show your unity. That will be a stronger bond you're created. So, you have to sit and explain that it is humanity that comes before anything in life. Nothing else will matter. You have to be a good human first. And those people have actually, done the reverse of colors. They've taken, the person has taken green and the person's taken orange. So, these things will only happen when you sit and talk to them. Just talking on the phone or just writing long messages and putting it on social media and actually not connecting. Human interaction is something that changes mind for everything. I believe in advocacy, but with that, groundwork has to be done. Only advocacy that we are going to do this. But I feel seeing is believing. When you're talking about something you've done, where can I see it? Transparency in your work. That is very important. And I think this is where Misal connected us to so many more areas, so many more people. During COVID, in last 5 months have been the most hectic time for us, where half of the people were like, we are bored at home, because so many more people reached out to us saying, यहाँ पे राशन नहीं है, मैम यहाँ पे hygiene kits चाहिए, and they saw our foundation pages where we were distributing rations. So one village connected to 8 more, 5 more. So we distributed to all of them. So Misal starts with all these things. And then once the beautification, the cleanliness, all the workshops are done, we start a Balwadi, a learning center. Balwadi is called a learning center for children in every area, followed by skill center. Because skilling is something that we hugely stress on for our youngsters, whether you're educated, whether you've not been able to complete your education, or you are a dropout, or you've not gone to school or college at all. You are still welcome in that skill center because, with skilling, with the kind of population India has, I would take it as an advantage. If that population was skilled, then I think sky is the limit. There is so much more they can do. So that is where the foundation comes in once the Misal work finishes. Then foundation takes over the Balwadi, the learning center, and the skill center. That is where the foundation involvement is done in Misal. But Misal is something which connects to every human being. And then our volunteers are there. We pick few volunteers from each area that we work in. We employ them there in the organization, and we tell them, okay, you run the center, you run the skill center, you run the Balwadis. We have teachers, we have curriculum which kind of is taught to children along with what they are learning in school. So these kids can be kids who are already going to school, and some of the kids who've not gone to school yet. So we don't have a criteria, we don't have do's and don'ts. Anybody and everybody is welcome to learn, because how can you have a question mark that okay, hum inko sikhayenge aur inko nahi sikhayenge? There's no criteria for coming and learning with us. Only criteria is dedication. Only criteria is wholehearted learning. If you want to be in RNAF center, you have to be a dedicated person, that unless there is a big problem at home, you don't miss your class. You do your homework on time. You, whatever task is given to you, it needs to be done on time. I think that's the only thing.
Amazing. That's superb. Wonderful dedication. It's amazing. So I was coming on the foundation part, like how you started. Well, just share the journey about your foundation when you started, how it comes up.
So, I started doing art camps with an NGO called Pratham in Bombay. And I still remember my first art camp, which was at Kanya Vidya Mandir here in Mumbai. And so it was a 2-day art camp over, I think, 350 children. And I was giving paper and pencil to everyone. I love children. For me to do anything for children is not something that I really needed to start a foundation to do it. I was any which ways. My foundation got registered, came into existence, I think 5-6 years after I was already doing a lot of work on my personal level. So when I was doing the art camp, I'm very involved. So the other NGO team was not very sure that, how involved she will be. They thought she's an artist who's just come to this golden art camp. Let's see how it goes. So I love children. For me, it's the energy which moves. So I was just giving them paper, pencil, everything. And one of the child, in fact, I narrate this incident, and I've spoken about this in many interviews of mine, that I gave a pencil to a child, 4.5, 5 years old, and he looked at me, smiled, and he said, "What is this?" So I looked at him back and I was like, "You don't know what a pencil is? तुमको पता नहीं है पेंसिल क्या होता है?" तो बोले, "नहीं, इसको इससे क्या करते हैं? इसको क्या करते हैं?" So I was like, like I still get goosebumps. I'm like, which world are we living in? A 4.5, 5-year-old kid, and I'm not talking about some gaon, some slum, or some remotest Pichrawa area. I'm talking about Mumbai city. And I looked at him and I said, "This is what you do with pencil, and don't tell me you've not gone to school yet." So he said, "Baba has done my admission, so I'll go now." So I said, "So before you go to school, you don't know what pencil is? Rubber, sharpener, paper, colors, nothing? No clue." The kid had no clue. And that is when, after the art camp, the 2 days finished, I, thought that I do not want to keep myself to these 320 kids, 350 kids. Now is the time. We need to expand. But that was the turning point of my life to get into social work full on. But it took me a couple of years to understand that when I get into social work, what is the main focus? I do not want to be social work that I put few posts and people will say, oh my God, how Mahan you are. I'm not, I don't want all that. Nobody is Mahan, and we are doing social work. We are not doing favor on anyone. In fact, they are doing favor on us by accepting us to do something for them. And if you are in life comfortable, I think if you're here, you should not come down 20 steps. You should come down 200 steps to help people. You have to move out of your comfort zone to give back to people. And that is where, my journey started. And I started doing a lot of other, I started actually then going into many slums, just checking who locally lives there, who's connected to that area, called a few friends that, listen, I want to go visit the slum. I want to do this. Some of my politician friends, some of my local people who are cooperators, the local Gram Panchayat people. I started calling everyone I knew at that time, and that I want to just go visit. Because for me, it was very important to see that if I'm going to go and do something here, how it is now, and once you've done the work, what is the impact it's going to create? Because there's no point doing something if there is no impact on ground. So that is where I started exploring, connected to a lot of people, interacted with a lot of children, interacted with a lot of parents. It took 2 years to do parent counseling to even convince them to send their children to school. Some of the parents didn't want their children to go to even free government school. So I told them, here, there is no financial issue for you because government schools education is free. You're getting midday meal. Now they're getting uniform and bags and shoes also. Still, no, ma'am, we will do child labor and we'll put them to work. So people had that mentality also. So 2 years is a long time for parent counseling that, what, please give me 10 years of your child's life. And, let him get educated, let her get educated, because without education, there is nothing. Education should be the main focus right now. With all the difficulties you have in life, these 10 years more, after that, you will have a smooth life because your child will know what he or she is going ahead with. So I think that is where the RNF journey started. Then we started adopting slums and started working in it. And then finally, I was advised by the team that, you need to register the foundation because you want to work on a larger scale. You don't want to stick yourself to just few hundreds of kids. You want to go on a larger scale. And I think by then, in these 4-5 years, I had already understood that what is it that I want. Because for me or for anyone, I would say it is very important in life to know what you want to do, because there are so many avenues at that time, and especially when there is no need for you to do something on certain lines. You kind of neglected that, okay, we'll do it after a few years. So I'm lucky that I got that focus much earlier in my life, that I started in my 20s. And that is when the energy is different, you're more active and you're always on the go. So I could reach to millions of people today because I started very early and interacted with the people early. And I think that brought a huge change in the entire organization. The team is driven. RNAF team knows that there are no do's and don'ts. There are no rains and 40 degrees or there are no floods or anything. When you have to work, you have to work, because when you want to help someone, you are not going to see that how hot it is outside or it's raining heavily. When somebody needs you, when somebody is in trouble, somebody is in need, you have to just be there to make sure that that issue is addressed. So I think that dedication is something which is very important, and that's where the RNF journey started with this child who's a big man today and doing extremely well for himself. And I'm so proud of him. Somebody who didn't know what a pencil is, I think that he's done extremely well for himself. And I think that's what changes your perspective towards life. That what is the biggest satisfaction you have in life is when you see someone who didn't know what a pencil is and today is wearing a shirt with a tie and a jacket and going for a nice job, and it's just a completely different feeling. So I think that is where the RNF journey started for us. And after that, we launched a lot of initiatives: Read and Write, Ronak, Skill India. I mean, then you've seen the website. There were like a lot of things that we diversified in, because then it was like the key issue, the key focus is education and employment for our foundation.
Wonderful. That's truly inspiring. And It's so compassionate. I think we need people like you. We need human beings like you in this era where that compassion for human beings is really needed. And I can relate with you. It's so inspiring. So I have
All
seen
I
that. Yeah, yes, please.
sorry. I think all I want to say is that human beings need to think like human beings. That's it. Your compassion, your passion, your dedication. Just think as human beings. That's it. That itself is a big term that explains everything in life. That's it. You know, like you said, whether you use your head or your mind, I have never used my head in anything that I've done. And also, something that I don't believe is, I need to be convinced to do something, because I cannot give you something that I am not convinced with. Something that I have to, when I have painted for my exhibition, I've torn hundreds of my canvases. My friends have, like, some of them have seen it. They are like, this is so beautiful, this painting, but I don't like it. Now I cannot keep it at home. So I've told them. I put black color on them and I'm like, listen, something that I don't like, I'm not going to give it to someone. So even in my social work, some cause that I am not connected to, I cannot take that forward. So I'm completely passion driven. For me, it's all about something that I believe so strongly. I'll move the mountain for it. So for me, it is very important to believe, not for me, for anyone. It's a lot of students are like, ma'am, it's, we have so many pressures of looking after our family, looking after our children later, then parents, and then work pressure. Well, we all have pressure, whether you work or you don't have. Even a housewife has a lot of pressure, but still she manages to do different things. And I'm not saying become a social worker, become an activist, but I'm saying no matter what you do in life, 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, which is not a big thing to ask for. Just go interact with a group of children, group of people. Just talk to them. Trust me, you are thinking you're teaching, you will come back learning from them. It's not that you are going to them because you think you're taking the class or you're teaching or you're doing something with them. But when you come back home, few months down the line, you will create such a strong bond with them, and you will look back and say, oh my god, I never thought of these things. And only after talking to them, interacting with them, I've got so much that I never thought I knew. So it's, when you're teaching, you're also learning. So humans need to think like humans, and I think that itself will change the entire nation for us.
Superb. That's wonderful, and I think this is the best and the big takeaway on this conversation. That yes, if you're being, you're thinking about something, you're so dedicated towards that, and that's truly inspiring. So I've seen the blogs and the website. You've been through a lot of exhibitions across the globe. So you have seen both the aspects of life, one the elite side and one the slum side. So what do you want to say on that? Like, what was your learning? If you want to share, say something on that.
Um, yes, I think we live in a society where you also have friends who don't live in slums. You yourself don't live in slums or villages or bastis, and you're living in a city. I'm living in Mumbai right now. So you have two sides of your life, where you also have friends whom you meet, you have a meal with, you have coffee with, and then you work. But then, being the woman, I would say you have to balance it right. And I've never been someone who's always been like, meeting a lot of people and just friends and partying. And I'm not saying that's wrong. That's also great if you can balance it. Even for me, you know, meeting these people, my friends, spending time with them, is very different. We don't, for me, even to make a friend, I need to have a little bit of intelligence connected to that. Just sitting and talking about something which makes no sense is not someone I can have a conversation with. And I'm not saying you have to always talk about general knowledge or what's happening around the world. That also gets boring at times, because you're doing that all the time. So you have to just balance it right. I have exhibited worldwide. I've done lots of murals. Like I said, I started very early, and I think that plays an advantage to my profile and the biography that you read, that how I've done so much work. It's because I started early, and Earlier days we worked round the clock, because once you've committed, now there is entire metro station that needs to be done. The artwork, the murals, the sculptures need to be done. So me and my team have worked round the clock, because once you've committed, you've given your commitment, there is no excuse that you have not been able to fulfill. And then don't pick up the project if you cannot fulfill it, because end of the day, it's your name which is going to be written under that piece. So you have to make sure that depicts what you are trying to portray. So that is very important. Like I always say, dedication, hard work. Nobody becomes a superstar overnight. A lot of youngsters today I see give up very easily. They get fed up. They are like, "Ma'am, there's too much struggle." But who is not struggling? Who's become successful without hard work and struggle? And what is the definition of struggle? When you're struggling for your own self to become something, how is that considered a bad struggle? You are struggling for yourself. Are you struggling to earn money for someone else? No. Are you struggling to be successful for someone else? No. You are doing all the hard work, wanting to do everything in life for your parents, for your family, who is part of you. So how do youngsters get so edgy on these small little things? Because we deal with millions of youngsters, youth around the country, and I get all these queries that, "Ma'am, this is not happening. How will this happen?" So I tell them patience, because Rome wasn't built in a day. And if you don't have patience, then even if you're successful, you are still not going to be happy. And what is the definition of success? How many awards you've got, how much money you have, or how many people know you on social media, or how many people know you otherwise? What is the definition of success? And I truly believe, the true legacy that anyone can leave behind is not the amount of money or the fame that you have with you. True legacy is that how many people's life you've touched during your lifetime, how many people you've come across and changed their life for good. That is true legacy. But then not everyone has to be an activist, not everyone has to be a social worker, but even corporate, even industrialists, even actors, politicians. I think everyone must do something in their life which creates that human impact, that creates that human bond with just a small group of people. That itself is big. You don't have to reach out to millions of people, but some group of people, some children, some youngsters, some group of women who really needed it, and you made a difference in their life. I think that is true legacy. So, this is something one has to balance, that no matter how successful, how rich, how much fame you have in your life, you never forget your roots. You have to be grounded, you have to be humble, because uh, success and fame sometimes is short lived. You're suddenly very famous and you're suddenly nowhere. So when you are everywhere, you have to be the same. And when you come down, also, you have to be the same. And then work hard to go up again. That is the time when people around you will push you ahead and stick to you because you didn't change. So for me, when you say that how do I balance these two sides of my life, my real life is where my family is in the slums, where my family is in the villages. But I love my friends also. We have a lot of good time together as well. So, but that does not change. I am not different with my friends, or I am not different with people in the slums. In fact, I am more loving and more happy and more outgoing with my people in the slums and villages than I'm with my friends. My friend thinks that now she's become very reserved, which is not true. But probably I've started getting more happiness in the other side of my life. And this is also great because you also need friends. You also need a change of mind, change of atmosphere. When you're seeing, we work a lot with children who are suffering from cancer sometimes, and mentally disabled kids also. Though I kind of stay away from it because it's too much for me to take. We already have enough areas to work in, but sometimes we do have these art therapy classes for them. So you already have baggage of so much on your head. So that is the time you meet your friends and you kind of unwind. So you have to balance it right. That what is it in your life that will take to manage both the sections? Because all the youngsters who are listening just now, or the otherwise the youth of our country, young girls, young boys, when they finish their studies, they are going to go into different jobs. They're going to start, some of them will start their own business, some of them, will start their own jobs, work in different areas of profession. So they will also have a set of friends, and then they will also have work life, they will also have family life. Sometimes it gets too much 9 to 5, and then you only have weekends free and you choose to do different things. But it's just that you have to just manage it right. It's all about managing your time and prioritizing your life, that what is your priority. Is it money? Is it success? Is it 9 to 5 job? Is it also giving some time back to society? But in this race of life that youngsters are living today, trust me, give few hours a week to something nice, because that will help you focus so much more in your work of profession. Because when you're happy, you start portraying happiness everywhere. And when you are socially connected to some cause, it gives you that happiness and joy. So whoever is inclined towards that should definitely do it. It just plays miracle on your mental health, on your physical health. It just, a lot of mental health or physical health is taken care of when you're happy inside. But when you're always little low or depressed inside, that this is not happening, too much work pressure, too much family pressure, how am I going to manage my time? That is when you are pulled down. But if you spend some time with some people who give you pure joy, I think that is the time you can balance both the sections very well. So I think that actually worked. I would say that was God's blessing for me, that I could start my work, social work, and that kind of balanced everything for me. Yes.
Superb. And even I truly agree on this part that whenever we are contributing in other person's life and there is a transformation, it gives a lot of happiness.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is what we can see, that commitment and dedication also in the wonderful. So if you're having conversation with MBA students, so what you would like to tell, and just give a suggestion to these people if they want to be any social entrepreneurs or want to see some things, what should be your just saying on that part, what do you want to suggest to them?
See, like I said, that when we launched our Skill India initiative in our different areas of country that we are working in, the focus was to make village entrepreneurs. Give them startups, smaller amounts, give them startups to do a lot of different things. Because a lot of these youngsters, mid-age people who came to learn in Unsetters, they were like, ma'am, we don't want to only do jobs. What if we get startup help and we can start something of our own? And then, we are also contributing back to society, but we are also making profit. We are also making some money out of it. So I think that is what all the youngsters should think of. And MBA students are already, I know there are a lot of work pressure. A lot of my students are also doing MBAs today. And, at times they're like, ma'am, we have so much to do. We have so much to study. We have this coming up. We have that coming up. So they already have so much on their plate. But then, of course, there are a lot of new avenues that you can open. Some of the students would want to purely do business, and some would also come into social entrepreneurs, become social entrepreneurs. In fact, the latest initiative that we've launched recently, Saksham Studio Saksham, is actually a social entrepreneurship initiative, where we are, putting everything online with all the works that are done by different women and youngsters. I'm not talking about only girls or women. I'm talking about even youth, the boys, the men in our country. They're doing different handicrafts and khadi products. Whatever they are making, it's going on line for sale. Soon we'll be launching that website. So it's very important. And MBA, like I said, you decide that what is it, because mostly what I see, MBA students, they want to do more of corporate jobs. They want to get into corporate jobs. So in fact, I would want to hear from some of the students here who are listening today, that is there something different any of the student who's thinking of? Because there are a lot of students that I know who've done MBA, who've studied art or architecture, are not practicing what they've studied. They're doing something completely different. So is there any student that you think who is probably studying MBA but might turn to a different direction of profession altogether? So I would be very happy if you email me, students, and tell me something that you're thinking, because today the youth has to be very creative. I always tell that India, the power of India is the youth today. And future of a nation is youth today, and youth has to think out of the box. If you're just going to follow what you're seeing and what is already there, how are you different? If I just went into a slum and started cleaning and building toilets for them and cleaning their toilets, would anybody notice? No. I thought that I'm going to do that, but let me paint the houses first, because everyone who's going to cross the ceiling is going to look at it. Everyone who's going to take a metro and go through Thane area is going to look at this hill. And then, so before I started talking about it, everyone started talking about it. Mr. Bachchan blogged about it. Amir Khan tweeted the video. Then I think Sehwag is a cricketer. He wrote something about it. So, everyone who crossed that area on their own started writing all this. So that is something. And thanks to that, like I said, art connected us to people. Thanks to that even, got not the people in slum, but also people in the city living in high rises and bungalows connected to us. So think out of the box. Whatever you want to do in life, whether you want to do a hardcore business or you want to be a social entrepreneur, think out of the box. By just saying that I want to be a businessman or a businesswoman, or I want to contribute back by also making profit, but also giving back to society by being a social entrepreneur. But what is it that you want to do? Which line you want to pursue? What is it that you want to take forward? So that is very important, and that is what students need to, just reading, going by the book is good, because you need to also give exams and you need to get good marks and all that stuff. But back of your mind, do not let your creative mind die. Let your creativity be. Maybe you're studying MBA and you will be, probably working with Rumal Nagi Art Foundation tomorrow, some of you, or you'll be working with some other organization and you never thought an MBA would be cleaning the street or cleaning the slum or painting the slum or teaching the teachers there. So it's something different. So keep your mind open. You explore, because this is the age. If you're not going to explore now, after 35, 40, you're anyway kind of, set in your routine then. So this is the time. Just let your creative mind be open. What you see, what you think, what you dream. Just dream about creative ideas. I've started, every time I start a new series of paintings, most of the time I'm inspired in my dreams. There's something that I've seen when I've traveled or I've met someone that's stuck in my mind. But at that time, I've not realized that this can convert into a series. But few months down the line, when you think about it, something or the other kind of strikes you, and oh my God, I can do, like my Rashtrapati Bhavan show, which I did, flamenco. It's one of the ideas like that, why can't flamenco dancers be just like human figures? Why can't they be just abstract, dangling into each other? And that's where I created these 10 sculptures out of that. And, everyone loved it. So out of the box, youth has to be very, very creative. And I think that is their biggest strength, that they need to explore.
Amazing, amazing. Truly inspiring. It's really, really wonderful to have a word with you. So I would like to open the forum for students so that they want to ask something, because I know a lot of them, they must be having certain questions. I want to open up the Q&A session for students if they want to ask something to ma'am. Any one of you who wants to ask, please.
Why don't you all put your cameras off and let me at least see 6 faces. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 faces.
Yes. And
on
you
my
can
screen.
Raise your hand. And
I can see Alisha, Asta, Amardeep, Bhavna, Reena, Muskan. I think they keep changing. And now I can see Harry B.
Yes, Shalini, Muskan, if you'd like to ask anything, please unmute yourself and you can ask the question. Shalini, you can go forward.
Ma'am, Bhavya here.
Hi, Bhavya. Nice hairstyle.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, I wanted to ask that since you have been working in these areas, so what has been the most challenging part, like organizing the people or dealing with the people? So, what has been most challenging?
The most challenging part is convincing people initially, because, like I said, that they have a certain mindset that people who come to work for us or do something for us have a hidden agenda, and which they are not wrong. They face that. So initial stage, convincing them. Like one of the areas near the airport, there were a group of people who came to even push us and, I don't want to use the word beat us up because all students are there, but they also came with the thing that, oh, no, we're not going to let her and her team work here. So, and just before that, I was talking to a group of ladies where, children have a lot of skin allergies in that area and asthma problem. So I was just talking to them that we are going to do a health camp. So आप सब बच्चों को checkup के लिए लेके आइए. So when these group of these boys, young boys and men came to push us around and say, no, you're not working, and how is this, who's allowed, and which party is there. So that group of ladies actually came and were like, stood in front of us and said, if you are capable of doing what she is doing, we've chosen you as the secretary of this area, then she didn't have to be here. You have garbage, rotten garbage right in front of our house, and that's why kids are like full, their bodies are full of allergies, they can't breathe properly. If you would have done your job right, she wouldn't have been here. So that guy, went back, and I told him that, listen, this is not the way you address an issue. And if you are going to be pushy, we can also be pushy. But is that what you really want? Or you want, being the resident of this area, good for people? So challenges are of course huge because you're walking into an unknown territory where you have 4-5 different political party people working. First, they want to know which political party is supporting you, which politician is supporting you, and when they understand, sometimes then they know, okay, nobody. She's herself the social worker. She's working. So some will say, ma'am, oh, nobody is supporting you. Which no politician is supporting. So it's like they want the A and the B both. So you have to have patience with them. They're full of challenges, but you have to have patience with them because they are so amazing. These people are so amazing. It's just that nobody has sat with them and listened to their problems. Everyone comes with big mics and big groups of people saying, we will do this for you, this for you. Out of that, half of them are fulfilled, some of them are not fulfilled, sometimes nothing is fulfilled. So they have their own problems, set of problems already. They are going through. Imagine in a 8 feet by 8 feet home, you have 10 or 12 people staying in that room. When we were working in Abhyas Gali in Worli, students used to come and study. The engineering college student, law college student, MBA students. I used to chat with them the whole day. They used to group up and used to do a different sessions of what they are studying. They used to tell us, and I used to say, why are you sitting and studying? Ma'am, we don't have space in our house. So we want to be here because we want to concentrate and we want to work and less noise. So, you have these kind of problems in these areas, and that is why they are slums. That is why in rural India, you still don't have a very strong education system. And even if government schools are there, how many kids are actually going? So the set of challenges are of course there. Like, I mean, the biggest thing was that you almost got pushed around and we would have pushed them back too. But the people, the locals saved us there, and they came forward and they supported. And after that, these group of people who actually were against and saying that you can't do it helped us throughout that initiative, that area. So I think you have to change their mindset with patience and a little bit of extra love.
That's great, man. Really appreciate the work.
Anyone else? Anyone else wants to ask any question? Can you raise your hands?
So I can ask. So how many of you are going to come and volunteer with us? Teachers are also welcome to come and volunteer. Whichever we are starting our work in, we are already working in one of the refugee camps in New Delhi, and I'm very keen on starting work in 2 of major slums in New Delhi. So I think your college students, some of them can come and volunteer with us for a day or two, interact with the people there, teachers there, and I think it'll be a good learning experience for all of them. We have university students from abroad. We had from Washington, we had 20 students who came last year from US, and they workshop with us for 8 days. So, and they were like, we want to come back to India and we want to live here and we want to serve here. So here, whom I'm talking today is to mostly all the Indian kids. So I think we'll have more enthusiasm and more compassion towards our own people. So, which is what we all want from you guys.
Truly, I think we should avail the opportunity being with wonderful person and such a unique personality, and we're fortunate that we have people like you in our country. Definitely, I think a lot of people, a lot of students will be, we want to involve in this thing. Anyone else who wants to ask any question, please? We are just 5 minutes left for the session to complete.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Please raise your hands if anyone else is there. Okay. So I think they're all done with the old day.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really, really wonderful to have a conversation. For myself, I think, after talking to you, even now I'm thinking that, yes, I really want to step out and want to join hands somewhere.
You're most welcome.
And
you're most welcome. We have a
we
volunteer form on the website, rubalnagiartfoundation.org. So you can fill it, and you can, you'll also, we keep updating. Because of COVID, on-ground work has obviously slowed down because we are very careful about what's happening around us, and safety is most important. But I think December onwards or November onwards, the on-ground work starts again, and that is the time. Delhi is something we are looking in a very big way now, and all of you are most welcome to come join us, work with us, volunteer with us.
Surely, I think a lot of students will be looking forward for this, and it was really wonderful to have a conversation with you, Rupal ma'am, and we are privileged to have you here, and it's truly inspiring and motivating for all of us to have a conversation. I think it's really creatively courageous to be like this.
Yes, that's our tagline. Seeing is
that's
believing, and be creatively courageous. But how many students are going to be courageous? I want to know that. Because till you break through, like there are so many movies that you will see of people who've achieved big time in their life. They have, in fact, at the edge of their life, they've mortgaged their homes, and they don't know whether this project that they are putting the money in or effort in is going to be successful or not. They might be sleeping on road, but they are still willing to take that chance. They are ready to accept that challenge. So that is fearless nature is also very important if you want to have that edge of success in your life. So be fearless. I mean, you guys are young. You have the whole life to look up to different avenues, different fields of career. So take the challenges and fight them out. Let's see. You never know. Maybe the first one will hit it right, and you've got it.
Yeah, true. Very true. Very inspiring. Thank you all, and thank you, ma'am. It's a privilege again. It's truly a big privilege for us to be with you and having a conversation with you. It was amazing talking to you and knowing your experiences, the challenges, and all the tenure and the terrain you have covered, and be here right now wherever you are. And it's truly, truly amazing to have a conversation. I thank you on behalf of Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Management Research. And we look forward that, yes, a couple of students being in the social working, definitely they would like to join hands with you. So thank you, and thank you, Mr. Anuj, for organizing this wonderful opportunity for me and students for having a conversation. Thank you, students. Thank you all for being here. Let's,
Thank you, but please make sure whenever you're outside, you have your mask on. I always say, have your mask on, maintain social distancing. We are still in the middle of COVID-19 crisis. It's not over. So a lot of people say, ma'am, corona se kya darna? They talk like that. And I'm like, okay, we are Indians. There you go. So let's not behave like one. Let's behave a little sane and take this seriously, because there are a lot of people who are suffering. There are a lot of people we've lost in 2020. So you want to be more careful. And if we are going to preach something, we need to follow it ourselves as well. So it's very, very important that, you keep your mask on most of the time when you are outside in public. It was wonderful to see all of you, and all the very best. Keep creating, keep inspiring, and keep motivating. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.